Right. I just sat up, I just had a couple beers.
Right.
But I was starved when I got home, so I microwaved about a whole pack of hot dogs and just ate the hot dogs and dipped it in mustard. And she thought I was like hungover and like glazy eyed. I'm like, no, I slept in my contacts and I had the mustard in my hand because I was eating hot dogs. And then she's like, I saw this cup of beer, and I'm like, that cup was actually water. Like, it really was. I was like, I'm telling you, for once,
For once, I'm not a complete degenerate.
Right. Thank you, Clyde. What's up with that? Oh, Jeff, you want to close the door? Dave, is it too late to play best of? Oh, no, we're on the air! Dunc and Holder, one more hurrah here on Sports 1280 on a Friday, June 15th. Larry Holder, Jeff Duncan, Clyde Burnett, and Dave DeCorbier here with you. If you want to get involved in the show, feel free, 504-260-1280. Yes, this is our final Dunc and Holder episode here on Sports 1280. We are leaving the station if you are not kind of up to snuff as far as we announced it on Monday. It's been on NOLA.com, and we're going to be going to podcast form in late July. But I will say this, it's one of those departures where it's no hard feelings, because I guarantee you...
What are you talking about? I'm tired of Dave. I'm ready to get out of here.
I was about to praise Dave.
Oh,
go
ahead, yeah.
Jeff.
I didn't realize we were on the air.
Exactly.
We need to keep up.
Well, when the... That's what I said, and you weren't.
We can easily
you
just
weren't
walk
on the
out
trigger.
right now and
Exactly.
call it a day.
You were not on the trigger finger to do that, but no, when D Squared has his show starting on Monday,
The D League.
I'm fired up. He's talking to me about esports, and he's talking to me about how like esporters have like stats and they have drafts and free agency
and hot girlfriends. I read this last night.
Dave, I told you Clyde would be in on esports. I nailed it. I know it. Because you two you got your geeky sides. I know it.
It was a surprise even for me, because it's like, nerds, you play video games. No, these dudes are
Clyde,
rich.
you have no room to call anyone a nerd.
I'm talking about the author of this post. I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay.
The author of this post said, mostly you, Neanderthals, not Dave in here, would call these guys nerds, but they're fit, they're healthy, they take care of themselves, they're rich, and have smoking hot girlfriends.
Do they...
It's something that has more to do with them being rich than it does...
Who cares?
Right.
So?
I doubt that they are fit. Do they run on a power pad? Do they do Dance Dance Revolution all day? No. They just hold the little controller and have powerful thumbs, I bet you.
Well, of course you have to have powerful thumbs, but obviously you got to make sure you got your wrists. You want to get carpal tunnel syndrome. Got to watch those wrists. Got to make sure you're getting those massaged out.
This is a real thing, Jeff. You act like we're gonna play.
You act like we're gonna hit a horn.
Our final show is talking about geeks playing video games.
I'm about to say,
you act like, hang on. You act like we're going to blow a horn.
Yeah.
No, not today. We're just going to blow the horn, and everyone's going to blow through it today on our final episode here on Sports 1280. I will say this. I am fired up for hour number 2 because we cannot end this hoorah without a visit from our good buddy Todd Graffinini. He's going to come in studio, and I'm not sure he knows what he's getting into.
Hang 'em, bang 'em.
Jeff and I have discussed a strategy when Todd comes in. I'm assuming he's probably walking, and he's going to text me here in a minute saying, what are you talking about? So just be surprised when the Graf comes in.
I'm excited for that. First time in studio. No, I think he's been
in studio.
Yeah, he's been in studio before.
Yeah.
But still excited to have him in. Special guest.
Exactly. Oh, well, last night, it's kind of piggybacking off of that. We went to the Tulane Greenbackers Club meeting in Metairie. Had a great time.
It looks like they would kick you out.
Those folks are fired up, and look, we had a blast. I had a blast.
Good group of guys. Weren't too hard on us. They actually were pretty light. Took it light on us, I thought, for the most part. But that's always a good group of guys, and and here we are, man. Our final. It's hard to believe it's been almost a year since we stepped foot in the studio.
We didn't even make it a year. We're pitiful.
We got close enough. I don't care what you say. Like you can say that we didn't. I say that we made it a year. It's the summer. We made it a year. I don't care what you say.
Well, all I know is people were asking, y'all should have had Sean Payton on your show, your final show. And then I'd say no, because he'd come on and make fun of us. because
then I should have asked somebody I was with at dinner last night. Hey, can you get Sean on? Can you get him to call in?
Because
please?
he said when he came on a while back that this thing's going to last forever, and then he
still
would
lasting.
I know, in its current form though, he would just come on and say, he would call us the Adrian Peterson of radio.
Yeah, he would definitely say you guys are getting an F. You guys got an F.
We're all getting an F.
I'm not taking an F. I'm sorry. I think I did a really good job
I
of the
think
show.
we got A's. Clyde and I got A's.
For sure. 100%.
Clyde got a Z minus.
Shut up. Shut up.
I mean, that's where we are.
Shut up.
Yeah. Clyde came in all humble, wanted to be part of the show. Now he's like
Humble
turned into
brag.
like the Frankenstein monster we created.
No, I wouldn't say that. I would just say that when because I mean, oh boy, I've got so much stuff. This show's gonna be so great.
So much
Who's winning the
stuff.
World Cup, Clyde?
I did say this. I gave Clyde 3 missions to start the show. I'm asking him for a World Cup update. Yes, I am.
I think you can provide that.
Asking him for a U.S. Open leaderboard, because all I know is you watch the U.S. Open and it seems like they're playing in a wind tunnel. You standing there, you're putting, and I'm waiting for someone's hat to fly off. The pants are all ruffled, and putts are treacherous. The rough is treacherous. And this U.S. Open that's playing right now is what you want to see. You want to see the golfers be humbled. I'm sure the golfers are pissed, but us as just random humanoid golfer, we like to see them be human and scratch and claw to get under par, and that's what you're seeing right now on Long Island, and it's fun to watch. I honestly think it's fun to watch. I don't need to see birdie, birdie, birdie. I need to see just disaster. I need to see blow-up holes.
Well, you saw that yesterday.
I need to see Tiger triple the first hole, which I did. And then everyone else, Roy McIlroy, 10 over. Jordan Spieth, 8 over. Everyone who is a notable name played terrible, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah, no, it's what the U.S. Open's all about. It's why it's next to the Masters, the most watched golf tournament in the world, and I guess the British Open would qualify as well. But the U.S. Open you watch for the carnage, and we saw plenty of it on day one. Now, I saw Pat Forty's tweet saying the weather was not as bad today, so the scores should come down today, because when the wind is up, Shinnecock Hills is brutal, and the way they've redesigned the course and trimmed around the greens, it's really, really difficult. So it's going to be fun to watch. And look, Dustin Johnson's one of the pre-tournament favorites. He's right there. I think he's going to be tough to beat.
Well, Dustin Johnson, I was watching, and he had to drop his ball because it took about 40 people to find it through the rough at one point yesterday. Tiger Woods is literally digging, trying to help him. Reporters, just random folks were trying to find through the weeds, and that's what you get when you go play a U.S. Open. You want U.S. Open rough, you want U.S. Open carnage, and you're seeing it. And to me, look, the Masters is always the elite tournament. You look at the Masters, and I'll put it in tennis terms, you look at it as Wimbledon. It's that elite tournament. But the U.S. Open every year, I always look forward to it because it's the ultimate equalizer to anyone. You need to be on point, and when you're on point, you're talking even. And I feel like that humanizes the game, and I feel like that's why people kind of gravitate always to a U.S. Open.
I wish every tournament were like that. I mean, there's something to be said. I know people like to see you score under par, but when the score is like 27 under after 4 rounds, it's not nearly
it's that high.
Sometimes some of these tournaments do. You know, some of these tournaments are crazy with scores.
They're not playing that putt-putt.
It's nice to see them right around par. It really is. It's one of the features, the annual attractions to the U.S. Open. And you know, it's funny. We had Steve Worthy was out at Saints camp this week, CEO of the Zurich Classic, and I asked him for his pick at the U.S. Open, and he said early in he listed about 2 or 3, but the first person out of his mouth was Dustin Johnson. Then he said Justin Rose, and they're both playing very well.
Clyde, you got a leaderboard?
Yeah,
update?
in fact, I was just going to bring it up. Dustin Johnson's actually the lead. I'm pretty sure he just bogeyed his last hole because he was at 3 under, but now he's at 2 under. Just up the page just refreshed. But there are only 3 players right now that are under par. Dustin Johnson the lead. Scott Piercy, he's at 1 under. He doesn't tee off until 12:30. And then you've got Ian Poulter, also at 1 under, and he doesn't tee off until 1:36. So you've got only 3 players right now at the U.S. Open who are under par so far. Everybody else, but it's not like they're so far ahead of everybody. Then you get to a logjam tie for 4th at 1 over with Russell Henley, Matthew Pavon, Justin Rose, Charles Howell III, and Charlie Hoffman. So they're just at 1 over. And then you get into your 2 overs. You got Jason Duffner, a few other guys that are just not far behind. And if you guys if it plays the way you guys say it play today, then you should probably see a few more guys get under par. But I did see this was on Sunday, or no, this was on Wednesday before it started. The player that wins the very last tournament before the U.S. Open has never gone on to win the U.S. Open right after.
So who was that?
Dustin Johnson. Dustin
Wow,
Johnson won.
okay.
Yeah, he won on the Eagle on Sunday. To claim the last, I think it was the St. Jude Classic or the something like that, and there was a stat afterwards that said that the last player to win on the PGA Tour before or heading into the U.S. Open has never won the U.S. Open. So Dustin Johnson could be bucking the trend here if he can hold on to the lead.
I was about to say Dustin Johnson would be the one to buck the trend because he's a stud. And he's doing it pretty well in the wife category.
Yeah, when he's
he is. Yeah,
when
he
he's
is.
on, when he's on his game, I mean, he's one of the very elite players in the world, and he clearly points to these majors, like most of these guys at that level do. I mean, these guys win so much money now on the tour. When you get to the elite level, you start pointing towards the majors, and you don't have to play as many tournaments as they once had to. I mean, they might just target a few select tournaments and lead up to the majors, and DJ's done that for a few years now because he's reached that status.
It's the same thing in tennis. Like Roger Federer skipped the clay court season now because, well, he's up in age, but he could skip the clay court season and roll right in and take some time off and roll right into the grass court season because Wimbledon's coming up in a couple of weeks. But yeah, the elite of the elite, that's where they shine. But look, golf though, you could always have kind of a random pop up and win. We've seen some random people win majors all the time, but at least you want, I'll say by the weekend, of course Father's Day weekend, people are going to be paying attention. You want, say, the blue bloods of golf to be in contention. I think that's what made this year's Masters so much fun. You had so many people in contention that were named folks, and look, it draws ratings, even though if Tiger Woods is anywhere near the leaderboard, really draws ratings. But I like to see, it's the same thing for me when you get to, say, the Final Four in the NCAA tournament. The Cinderellas are fun in the early rounds. I want to see some blue bloods, and hopefully we see that in the U.S. Open. Honestly.
You got to get the Cinderellas.
They're boring. They're lame. They're one-hit wonders. They're Vanilla Ice. One-hit wonders.
I love Vanilla Ice. What's wrong with Vanilla Ice?
Yeah, his one hit.
What's wrong with that?
We could say, oh, Loyola Chicago, that's a cute little story, but I'd like to see Kansas, Duke, Kentucky, and not Louisville. Oh, did I say that out loud?
I think we are blue blood.
Did I say
I will shock both, all 3 of you all today, just so you all know. I came in to promote our auction item for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. You know, there's one of the items is the Ultimate Sports Package, which includes a day with Dunc and Holder. And I came in to promote it, and it's already been sold.
Wait, someone bought it?
Somebody bought it.
What?
Wow.
Somebody out there likes us.
That's dubious.
I cannot.
Well, my
believe
mom just texted me, so does that count? It might have been her.
it. It's sold for $585.
What? What?
I'm telling
Well,
you.
guys, you better put on your
Breaking
cummerbunds
news.
and bow ties because clearly someone actually wanted to do this, which is unfortunate.
This
unfortunate.
puts high expectations. I'm kind of afraid.
I would
of
say
this.
there's a little more to the story, because they also get 2 tickets to a Saints-Redskins Monday night game, which probably is going to be the game that Drew Brees breaks Peyton Manning's
We're just
record.
the afterthought.
So that might be why they
We're
did
definitely
585. But
the
we're
afterthought.
in the mix. We're part of the package.
We're in the mix. We
Well,
made
yeah.
the list.
We made the list.
On that note, let's take a break right here on the show. Dave coming in strong on a Country Fried Friday. He went one-hit wonder on us. Attaboy, Dave. All right,
How can you deny this, Sir Lawrence?
it's a fun little song. This is Loyola Chicago. It's a fun little song that you might be able to remember. Like,
Jeff, I'm gonna need you to sit down and stop
Jeff is dancing.
please.
What planet are we on? YouTube just broke. That just went to explicit content. We got thrown off YouTube.
Sheesh.
If you want to
try to keep up, fellas.
Exactly.
Try
If you want to get involved in the show, feel free. 504-260-1280 is the number. Grap will be here in about 25 minutes, and we're just going to keep him so as long as we want. We're just going to do it.
As long as he's got anything to do. So what? Find
Hold him
out.
hostage.
Oh, look out. It is College World Series weekend, and
It
now
is.
you're needling the Graph.
I'm just saying, if he's here, he's
The
got
longest
nothing better to do like the
bumper
rest of
music
us.
of all time.
I will say that. You're correct. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Dunc and Holder.
Made the list.
Made the list.
I wonder, has he said anything to you at all about that? It's awesome.
He refuses to announce a lot of it. It's awesome.
Made the list.
Made the list. Yeah, sure.
I would have loved to brought in a Bloody Mary. I should have just done it.
I should have just done it.
It wouldn't have been the first time I've done that on radio.
Yeah, I saw that picture. Yeah.
I heard y'all had a crawfish boil. I guess we're just chopped liver.
Yeah, we are. We are chopped liver, indeed.
And poison. Oh, okay. Jeez, and Bill Curl died?
Yeah. That's why I was late.
Oh.
I just realized we have no one else other than Ron that even knows who Bill Curl is, you know?
Right.
Like, I didn't have time to write it. I was like, who could write it? And Jennifer's hungover, like, not answering her
Oh, my
phone.
God.
I'm like, Archie and Cooper are like, where's the story? It's supposed to be up, you know. It's a disaster. And then,
I thought Archie didn't want his story to be told. Now he's looking for the
well,
story.
he was apparently saying that too. They think it's going to be a big promotion for him. I don't think. I mean, their interest is that it's promoting the passing game, which it really isn't.
Oh, it really is.
I mean, it's really just talking about his.
Yeah.
But point is, it's supposed to be up at like 8 a.m.
Wow,
7
wow.
And then it's going to get lost in all the children of Central City thing. I mean, like, I love that we have it on the site, but I mean, it's too big.
Well, I mean,
Whoa.
Nice.
nice.
Nice. Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah, no.
Figure
What?
that.
You
Yeah.
never do.
That's why they have advertising and we don't.
Salmonella outbreak in Louisiana. 30 states linked to Kellogg's Honey Smacks cereal.
Oh, well, I haven't eaten Honey Smacks in forever. That's good.
Honey Smacks.
I didn't
got
know those
salmonella.
existed
Is that
still.
possible? I know. That's
Yeah,
what-
how do you get
I
salmonella?
thought there had to be like a natural
Yeah.
ingredient for the salmonella to.
Honey Smacks now with raw beef.
Isn't that the frog?
Yes.
The frog with the little hat? Yeah. Since we're short timers here on the station, we're going to do some grand proclamations, Jeff. I'm going to put you on the spot, and we're going to talk topics, and you're going to have to make a grand proclamation / prediction as if this were your crystal ball column that you run every year following in the footsteps of Peter Finney. So let's see, which team are we going to start off with first? Why don't we start off with the Pelicans? So, grand proclamation. Now, look, this could easily be yes, no, maybe so. I don't know. But I'm just going to throw out some topics, and we're going to figure this thing out.
All right, bring it.
DeMarcus Cousins. Back? Yes? No? Maybe so?
Definitely yes.
Definitely yes. Why?
No doubt.
Why?
Because everyone on the team wants him back, and Dell Demps stuck his neck out to make that bold trade to get him, and he's not about to let him go somewhere else. He's going to keep his franchise player, Anthony Davis, happy, and it's a smart thing to do. What they bring him back at, I think, is going to be the question, not whether they bring him back, because I think he'll definitely be back.
Rajon Rondo. Back? Yes? No?
Yes, definitely yes. Same reasons. Everybody wants to continue this good thing that got started a year ago, and they've got the money to bring both those guys back. They can make it happen. Unfortunately, they both went to Kentucky, so it's kind of
always comes back to
Kentucky.
All right, maybe they'll just re-sign Purvis Ellison, your guy.
Maybe the NBA
number one overall pick.
They could have drafted the NBA Rookie of the Year, but they didn't have a draft pick last year.
Let's see, where do I go from here? Pelicans, are they better than Western Conference semifinal this year? Well, 2018, 2019.
No, I don't think so. I think that's about their ceiling right now with that team. The two best teams in the NBA are the Rockets and the Warriors, and I don't see either one of them stepping back because I don't think Chris Paul's leaving. I think he went to Houston to be a part of that plan. And look how close they were a year ago. So I really believe those will be the two best teams in the league again this next year. I can't see the Pelicans getting past either one of them, barring some kind of serious injury.
What if LeBron goes to a Western Conference team?
LeBron James.
Who's he going to go to? Maybe San Antonio could make that next leap? No, I don't think so. I think if LeBron James and the Cavs were in the Western Conference, they wouldn't even made the finals this year. They wouldn't have made the Western Conference Finals. They wouldn't have beat Houston or Golden State.
Are the Pelicans willing to go over the luxury tax?
No, I don't think they will. They haven't done it in the past, and I'm just going by the track record of the Bensons. And Gail Benson told me that she was going to run the team in his honor the way he ran the team. So I'm just assuming that means very frugally in some regards. And the NBA luxury tax has traditionally not been something that the Pelicans have, spent. They've never gone into that threshold, over that threshold. And I think it's because they frankly just don't have the money. I mean, they have the money in the organization, but the Pelicans' budget, because they're such a small market team, I don't think they can afford to do it.
Do the Pelicans actually make a draft pick next week?
Yes, so they'll make a pick.
They won't trade it away?
No, I think they'll
throw it in the trash.
No, I think they will try and find another Shaq Diallo, developmental project guy, maybe a Euro that they can stash. I definitely think they'll use it. I don't think they'll make some bold move into the first round. That doesn't make sense to me.
Does Dell Demps make it through the end of this year?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, he's definitely in now. They saved their jobs. He saved his job by trading for Niko Mirotic. That was an incredible deal. We've talked about it before. He got the books cleared up. They had a horrible cap situation with Omer Ashik. He got rid of Jameer Nelson, Tony Allen. I mean, those were all 30-something roster stuffing. I don't know what. They were going nowhere with that group. Made that trade, got Mirotic in, went to small ball. Alvin Gentry and his staff figured out a way to play. AD stepped up. Drew Holiday stepped up. Made the playoffs. I mean, they barely made the playoffs. We all remember that, right? I mean, literally, there were 2 games left in the season, and they were not sure to be in.
It does seem like that when you talk about the Pelicans, and I'm not saying it's revisionist history, but you do tend to forget that they were razor thin, had to win, the last 5 games in a row to get in. You kind of forget that. And the way they made their run, you feel like, all right, they're on the up and up, but boy, if you make one little slip up, you're out. You're Minnesota. You're who else missed the playoffs? What was it? Denver?
Wait, who missed?
Minnesota
made the playoffs. Denver missed the playoffs.
Denver missed it. The Clippers missed it.
The Clippers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The Nuggets.
Changes.
Right.
Perception changes drastically, but they did it. they went on the road and beat Golden State in a huge game, and that changed everything. And Dell Demps and Alvin Gentry deserve the extensions that they're going to get, but they've got to continue this thing going forward with a franchise player, an elite young talent in Anthony Davis, who, if you were starting an NBA team today, might be the first player you'd take. He's so good. So they've got to try and win a title with him. It can't just be get to the playoffs. That's why I think they're going to have a hard decision to make about going, what your question was earlier, going over the luxury tax. Because they have an opportunity to win a title with him. But they've got to do it right, and they can't repeat the mistakes that happened earlier.
They've also got to get lucky. I mean, we're talking about we're in another age where a team is going on an unprecedented historic run, and it seems like every time we get to one of these situations, it's almost as if you've got to hope, or fans of other teams have got to hope, that something crazy happens in the offseason, which it doesn't look like it is. It looks like Kevin Durant has no desire to leave, and why should he? He's already made his bed in terms of his career about saying, I left a good team and where I could be the man to go be a third player on another team and win championships, which is totally fine. It's completely his prerogative. But you have to hope that
third player.
I think he is. I don't. I think when
what?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Kevin Durant's not the third.
The
player.
third wheel? No, he's not the
that
third
team,
wheel.
that's
No. Who's the second wheel then?
Klay Thompson.
You gonna tell me Kevin Durant isn't as good as
horn?
Klay Thompson? You've
And,
got
and
to
you
be
know
out
whose
of
number?
your mind.
I'm about to say go to Golden State and ask them whose team it is.
I'll go to Golden State. I'll go to every state. Silver State, Bronze State, whatever. No, Kevin Durant is
Iron
the
State?
alpha. Sorry.
Not on that team.
He and Steph.
I think I just got horned.
Yeah, which what you deserve. Absolutely.
Never mind. That was for Clyde.
But no, obviously we're in an age where a team has to basically implode, because we're seeing so many other great teams during that run not win championships
you're right.
that are just as good.
Yes.
Because you talk about the Bulls in the 90s, you talk about the Lakers in the early 2000s, the Spurs. We're talking about teams with Hall of Fame players, top 50 players of all time.
This
players.
isn't like a Dallas Mavericks
No,
random
one-off
title.
Exactly.
Right.
This is we're talking about teams with great players not having a chance to win a title because you're seeing an unprecedented and historic run.
Clyde didn't even need the horn. Boom.
Well,
Atta baby.
I'm just going to jump back in here, though. I could be ganging up on Clyde on our final day here. But it's not unprecedented. Other teams have won titles like this. I mean, the Bulls won like 6.
He's saying that this team is on a run, and you need something almost kind of fluky to stop a run. No, it's not unprecedented.
Not unprecedented, but I mean
Celtics in the day.
Well, I mean, we're talking about basically one block or one play away from the Warriors having four championships in 4 years.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm not talking. I mean, I don't use the word unprecedented. I mean, just we see obviously another fantastically great team ascending to greatness that's clearly separating themselves from the pack, from the rest of the NBA. And what that does is that because they're so good and because they're so great, we're talking about all the rest of the team, 29 other teams in the NBA that are also just as good. The Rockets were great. The Cavaliers are just as good. But there are going to be a lot of players in this era that are also going to go without championships because we're seeing the Warriors do what they do.
Well, if you're a has-been Hornet, you've got no chance. Sorry, Chris Paul. Sorry, Trevor Ariza. Way to go, J.R. Smith.
They have a chance.
Nope, there
We'll have
has
a
been
big
Hornets.
chance next year.
Nope, has been Hornets. You banking that? Nope, it's over for you. Let's take a break right here on the show. And when we get back, the graph is en route. Got some fun stuff for the graph.
Well, Oak Ridge boys for you.
I know. Giddy up. But I'm down on this. I need a little tear for my beer, or I'm crying for you, dear. All my exes live in Texas. That's some honky tonk.
You know the man
country.
to ask.
Exactly. Come on back. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Duck and Holder. Giddy up. Bow. I need some rosé today.
Today. Nice.
Boom, ba boom, ba ba ba, yeah,
Bow,
boom, ba 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 ba. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Boom, ba ba ba.
No, it's impossible not to. Wasn't there like a song?
What was a handball?
Wasn't there a song about like Shana Na that had something like that? What was that Shana Na?
Well, it's Shanae.
Shenane.
You know what I'm talking about? They had that guy, and he would say that little catchphrase too that was that made you always say, let's say, Shana Na.
My pretty lady.
Soon. I'm sorry, I don't believe that ad. I think that's fake news.
Hashtag fake news.
Oh,
Fake news.
Fake news. Oh.
$585, man. There's a little more to the story though. There's also like they get a golf trip with Steve Watson and Triplet.
Why are we even like?
Why are we tagged in this?
Package. I guess they wanted to make sure somebody bought it. So it's like 2 tickets to the Redskins Saints game, a day with us. They're going to come to our Thursday night thing at NOLA Brewery, and then they get to play a round of golf at
It's
Audubon.
like a bargain.
It's not a trip. It's like a play at Audubon with Triplet and Watson. It's not a good
Steve,
little package.
maybe Steve will get drunk and fall in a lake or something.
Pee on his wife again in the bed.
He'll get mad at me that I'm a Tracy's guy.
He always does that.
I went to Tracy's yesterday and told Jeff about it. He's like, good! Hilton Head Island sounds fun. Let's go.
Finally, it's up.
Oh, your column?
Yeah. She said 10:30. She wasn't far off.
Never a doubt.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Are we like Marty McFly? We're going back to the future. We're walking in the diner, and I'm wearing my
Poodle skirt?
no, I'm wearing my life jacket. That's what I'm looking for.
Whatever. Poodle skirt.
Poodle skirt. Marty McFly did not wear a poodle skirt.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously I
Catchy
wasn't.
tune, guys.
It's something catchy
Don't
tune.
deny that.
This is back when you were
Yeah,
like in your 30s, when you were hanging out in the diner in
In the
1950.
When do you hear Sha-Na-Na anymore?
I was talking to Clyde about Shanae from Martin.
Shanae.
That's who I. Every time I see Sha-Na-Na, I always say Shanae.
What you're talking
I
about?
don't even know who Sinead is.
From
From
Martin,
Martin?
the show. Martin.
The show?
No, I never watched one episode
Oh,
of Martin.
sweet
I don't think I watched
Jesus.
1 minute of Martin.
Sweet Jesus.
Your loss.
Exactly.
I guess so.
Come on, man. All right, we're going to do some prognosticating. I'm basically just going to put Jeff on the spot.
That's not fair. I think Jeff should be able to ask you, just to make it fair, I think Jeff should be able to ask you nothing but Saints questions.
That's fine. Okay. Man, tough challenge. I think I can handle it. I'm only asked that every day of my life.
I know, right?
No, let's go the two-lane route since we hung out with the...
With no graph?
the
Well, I guess
green-
that's fair, yeah.
The Greenbackers last night, and of course they were peppering us with questions. Okay, so let's kind of run the gauntlet here with Tulane, since this is our last show here on Sports 1280. And if you forget about us and never follow us to our podcast, we will give our grand crystal
Which
ball
you should follow us
for
to
the
our
rest of the year.
podcast.
Well, of course, yes. Yes. What is it? The alternative platform? Is that what you
Yes,
said?
the alternative platform, the on-the-go, on-demand platform.
Okay. Tulane, Jeff. Willie Fritz. This team this year, do you see them getting above 500? Because that's the next step.
That's a tough question. I think 500 is the ceiling for this team. I think the schedule's too tough. Troy Dannon trying to undermine Willie Fritz with the Ohio State trip.
Well, yeah, them
Victory.
and Wake. You
UAB
open up with
on the
Wake.
road against UAB. That is a tough road game. That's one you don't get credit for. You're going to go out there and probably lose, and they don't have Ohio State's name. So you got Nichols Clyde's.
It's going to be a great
alma
game.
mater.
Can't wait.
Nichols is another very challenging
Scrappy.
opponent that you've got to beat. And
FCS playoff team last year.
Yeah, they got a good team. So, like, that early schedule, their first 5 games.
Well, you start off with Wake Forest at home, so at least you got them at home. But they were a much improved team last year. One of the more improved teams in FBS last year.
Yeah, they went to a bowl last year. I don't know if they won or not. I think they might have lost their bowl game, but they lost their starting quarterback. We heard last night from, I think, reliable sources.
Breaking news.
But that would be big if their starting quarterback did go down because he was a good player. But I think it's going to be tough. I really do. They had a lot of losses. You know, we talked about Perry Nickerson, Dontrell Hilliard, Ade Aruna. I mean, there are a lot of players that played a lot of football for that team. They've recruited well the last few years, but I think it's going to be a 500 year. 6-6 would be a major step forward, and I don't know if that's going to happen.
But if you see the progression at quarterback with Jonathan Banks, he's coming back. He, to me, is your no-brainer, bona fide quarterback. He's certainly proven he's got guts, and he can make plays and when you need him in clutch situations. And I think for Tulane, their football team, they can't run into win a few games and then stub their toe against someone just like they did last year, and that snowballed. They can't afford to do that because they were on the cusp of getting a lot of people on board with them, Jeff. You were getting on board, I was getting on board, and they stubbed their toe, and it took them a while to figure it back out, and they can't afford to do that.
Well, in the end, it cost them a bowl. I mean, that game, more than going to SMU and playing SMU in the season finale and coming up, an inch short?
Yeah, they got robbed. Yeah,
that was a tough way to end their season, but you put yourself in that position by losing to Florida, what was it, International? FIU, right? Correct?
Yeah,
So,
FIU.
It's kind of one of those things we talk about all the time. LSU baseball having to go out to Oregon State, play a very difficult opponent on the road. That's what happens during the regular season when you put yourself in that position. Saints, same way, having to go to Minnesota and play in that hostile environment. I think they beat the Vikings in the Superdome.
I don't think there's any doubt about it.
Right.
They could beat anyone in the Superdome. Anyone.
Yeah, no
but
doubt. They've got to somehow get that back. They've lost that. It's been a long time.
And it's also that they've actually not necessarily just gotten home field advantage. The fact that and we're kind of veering off, but
that's what we do.
But that's okay. But as far as say Saints, they haven't had a home field advantage in a few years. That has returned, so they've got to take advantage of that. All right, let me pivot back to Tulane because look, we'll talk Saints hour number 2 in our exercise that we're pulling here. Tulane basketball, we've seen them improve certainly from year 1 to year 2 under Mike Dunleavy. How much further do you think that Mike Dunleavy can bring this program? Do you think, I'll just put it to you this way, do you think they can at least be middle of the pack in the American, because the American is a tough basketball conference. It's one of the toughest in the country, honestly.
No, I think next year is kind of a transition year, personally. I think Dunleavy losing Frazier, they lost a lot from that lineup. And I think they'll have a good young team, some precocious young talent, but they're going to be too young, I think, to forge into the middle of that tough conference. So they might make progress, but it won't be in the win-loss record.
Well, we know their conference opponents already, as the American has released the schedule matrix. That's what they're calling it these days. For all the conferences, the matrix. Red pill, blue pill. So at home only, Tulane will host UCF and the University of Houston. Obviously, Houston is obviously on the come up. Away, they're going to go to Cincinnati and to UConn, and that's the only games that they're going to play in terms of teams that are just playing away. They're not coming back. And then home and away, they're going to play ECU, Memphis, SMU, Temple, Tulsa, South Florida, and Wichita State.
So they've got to go to UConn and to Cincy.
Yeah,
no one's doing them any favors.
No, they're losing, I forgot, Cam Reynolds and Mel Frazier. They're 2 leading scorers. That's 31 points a game you got to replace. Now, they got Jordan Cornish back, Ray Imbo, Caleb Daniels, young kid from St. Aug. There's a core there, but 31 points a game is a lot to replace. 12 rebounds a game. Those are the 2 best players they lost. So I can't see them getting better having lost those 2 guys, potentially a first-round draft pick.
All right, one more question. We'll take a break right here on the show. Tulane baseball. Do they get to a regional next year?
No, I don't think they do. I don't think they make it, and I think they end up making a coaching change.
So you think this is the pitching coach is basically the tip of the iceberg?
Yes. I think it's going to be the first real tough decision that Troy Dannon's going to have to make.
All right. That's Jeff making his predictions.
It's kind of downer there, but
Yeah, great way to
go.
end it. Way to
trying
end
to
it.
be realistic.
I don't know whether to blame
Boo,
him for the.
Jeff.
I don't know whether to blame
Sunshine
Jeff
and
for the
roses
answer
everywhere.
or blame you for asking that question last.
As I said, our job as meteorologists, we'd like to say it's going to be sunny every day, but it's not.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Technically, I can look out the window and there are clouds in the sky. Just saying. So you're right, Jeff. All right. We'll continue this conversation. We'll talk LSU. We'll talk Saints. And the Graph is en route. He will be here shortly. So come on back. Sports1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Dunc and Holder.
How do these people find these stories? Fireball whiskey covers Arkansas.
Oh,
Highway.
I found that one yesterday. Yeah, I read that one yesterday.
My buddy Mike McCluskey, he showed it to me yesterday.
Yeah, no, literally it came out yesterday. Yeah.
Far-
I had to do that with trending. I was like, all right, guys, everybody's talking about this. Apparently, a truck carrying Fireball spilled all over an Arkansas interstate.
You
Shut
know,
it down.
Fireball is Bill Goldring, New Orleanian.
Fireball. Dun, 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 dun.
That's why he's a billionaire.
Yeah.
'Cause
He made
there's-
Fireball?
he owns
Yeah.
it.
It's yeah.
They
Mhm.
bought it and
Bought
bought
it.
the.
Bought it, okay.
The reason Bill Goldring's a multi-billionaire is because there's always going to be frat boys
Yeah, that's true.
drinking Fireball.
Yeah. Always find these cheap
They
spirits.
own like all kinds of cheap.
I heart my frat boy days. Oh, which were like yesterday, literally.
I think they own Pappy Van Winkle and all that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They own like a shitload of stuff. Can I say shitload? We on there?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's too late now. I mean, whatever.
When are we gonna get our World Cup update?
I mean, we can get it whenever
There
we
is
want.
a
right now.
stall, and you don't
Yeah,
want to
he's a
talk
stall.
about
But I mean, it's fine. I mean, I got it up right now, and it's. I mean, we got Morocco in our end, and it's just boring as hell.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
hey,
scoreless
Dave, no one
in the
asked you,
98th
No one asked you
minute.
to talk, Dave. All right.
Yep, scoreless. They're just running around kicking the ball, missing, no
Free kick.
scores.
Ooh, that was a laser. That was a laser.
Right. Oh, and somebody goes down. Get the aerosol can, and he's back healthy.
No, you go to the sidelines, then you come back.
Yeah, pour the vodka.
Tamaker's he's like one of the funniest people I think I've ever.
Really
underratedly funny.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Or something.
Maybe.
He's pretty funny, man. Like his texts.
I would have to hear Democracy say more than 2 words in public.
Oh, did you tweet your column?
Yeah.
It just says my column. What?
That's what you gotta stop doing. That you gotta start taking the power of social media. You say my column.
Oh, you want to you want to go down and grab Graph?
Oh, is he down? Oh, is he
in the
downstairs?
parking lot?
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you, buddy.
I thought when I did it on my phone, it always had the whole photo and everything. That's why I always do it on my phone.
Huh. Nope.
They must have changed it. This new format, they must have changed it. Because I always do it from my phone just because it always gave the photo.
Yeah, golly, I would do it from my phone too, and it's I don't know. I feel like I try to go to the Saints app, and it's
I'm looking at.
yeah.
Yeah, see, this is classic stuff that happens at our place. Used to, when you did from the app, it always had the photo, the headline, everything. Now they've changed it because if you notice, the app's new, and that doesn't work. No one tells us.
Right.
And so I've been doing it. It's so frustrating.
No. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't have done it that way. I want the photo with it.
Yeah. All right. I will pester you about LSU before Graph gets in here.
All right.
Yeah. I basically just made this up on the fly. I have nothing else to talk about, so we're doing this. I'm just making it up. That's what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about on a Country Fried Friday. I thought he just cursed, but I guess it was not a curse word. Otherwise, it would be Bad News Bears, I'm assuming, for the station.
I think we have a very dependable producer here.
We've got the edited version of There's a Tear in My Beer, oh, I'm Crying For You, Dear. Good thing. Sometimes country music, man, you can get spicy. Let's talk a little LSU here. Prognostication, crystal ball for our final episode of Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280. Just a heads up, we will be back podcast form in late July on NOLA.com and every arm you could possibly find podcasts. All right, but we've been just doing a little bit of prognostication. Talked about Pelicans.
People love picks.
Talked about Tulane. Absolutely. It's basically your crystal ball column, but we're midpoint of the year. Well, we're midpoint of the year.
Right.
And the football season's coming up, basketball. So, okay, LSU. The over-under on wins for LSU football in Vegas has been around, 7?
Correct.
How many wins do you think LSU can pull off? If they play at their best, how many wins do you think they can pull off? At their best, I would say, at their best, and then what your realistic expectation of them would be.
I think the ceiling for LSU football this year is like 8-4.
That's the ceiling?
Yes.
That's depressing.
It's a realistic ceiling. Now they played Miami, Florida, at Auburn, at Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and at Texas A&M. All of those games, at 6 games against basically top 20 teams. Of those, 1, 2, 3 are on the road, 1's on a neutral field, and the other, Georgia and Alabama, are the 2 best teams that they play, and they play both them in Tiger Stadium. I think they'll be fortunate to be favored either. I don't know they'll be favored in any of those games. I mean, who they're going to be favored over? Georgia in Baton Rouge, maybe.
I doubt it.
I doubt it. I don't think they're going to be favored at Alabama.
No.
And they're not going to be favored on the road against Florida, A&M, or Auburn. Maybe Miami in the opener on a neutral field, maybe. So I think they're going to be doing well to win. Coach O and his staff, if they can win 2 of 6 games that they're not favored in, I think that's about right. Because they're probably not going to be favored in those 6 games. So you're asking them to win 3 games, 3 upsets, basically.
So does O survive if that happens? Do you think that the fact that the expectations are lower, do you think that, say, 7 wins is enough to keep people are always going to be restless, but do you think 7 wins is enough for Joe Oliva to still be like, hey, well, this is my guy?
Yes, I think 7 wins, he survives. 6 wins, he's in a very precarious situation. But 7, I think he gets another year because I think Joe Oliva's tied himself to him and is going to support him. He's a big supporter of Ed Ogeron. And look, there's nothing wrong with having a transition year like that. They're going to be loaded. Clyde's talked about that before. They're going to be really good in 2019. They're going to have a lot of talent. Just as Brian Kelly was given another year at Notre Dame, and Brian Kelly certainly, a lot of people in Notre Dame football community thought they should make a change. He survived, and they look like they're going to be one of the better teams in the country. So I think he gets another year. But he can't bottom out, have some disastrous 5-7 campaign because I know how LSU fans are. And they will be surrounding the LSU Athletic Center with pitchforks and torches.
I feel like they already are.
They're waiting.
Well, it doesn't take much.
They're waiting.
LSU basketball. You look at the early projections from, say, people I trust. I'll say, Gary Parrish from CBSSports.com. They have LSU as a top 20 basketball team. Is that realistic in your mind? And what happens if they don't make the NCAA tournament? I'm not saying Will Wade's going to be fired, but do you think steam leaves the program again because expectations are valid?
No, I think they're going to get back to the tournament next year. They've got too much talent coming in. I like Will Wade as a coach. I like what he did a year ago. I think they get back in the NCAA tournament. I don't think they're going to be a threat to make a Final Four run or anything like that, but I do think they'll get in. and that's good progress for him in his second season. And they're going to have some excitement back in Baton Rouge for basketball. It's long overdue. I mean, Ben Simmons came in with all this hype, ballyhooed recruit, one of the greatest players. He's going to go down in history as one of the greatest players in LSU basketball history.
And no one's going to remember him.
No one's going to remember.
No
It was
one's
such a
going to remember.
disappointment because the way things went down, and Johnny Jones paid the price for that. But LSU basketball, when it's going well, much like Tulane, when basketball is going well, people get into it here, and it's really good to have.
Look at the
March
Pelicans.
Madness.
When you're playing well, people get into it, but they're not just going to inherently show up because LSU basketball is the third wheel at LSU, and you need success to drive attendance. People are going to go to LSU football games. People are going to go to LSU baseball games, but LSU basketball, I remember even when I went to school there, John Brady was always hemming and hawing that they were the third fiddle, even though they had Stromile Swift and they made a Sweet 16. But
Stromile Swift was my guy.
But then, look, they have one good year and then they teeter out and the interest wanes. So they need to have consistent interest, consistent winning to bring consistent interest. Look, when LSU gymnastics are great, people come out in droves.
They are great.
I know.
Have been great lately.
That's why they come out in droves. They haven't been coming out in droves.
Is partially unfair about that, which I think you're absolutely right in terms of needing to have winning seasons to be relevant among a campus that is expected to compete for SEC titles, national titles, almost across the board and everything, because that's the expectations. LSU baseball, and I'm not saying this to knock LSU baseball, because LSU baseball is great, because what Skip Berman did for a team and for a program that was an also-ran is incredible. But at the same time, LSU baseball was able to be formed at a time when college baseball at that point in time was really only being taken seriously by a handful of programs. And at that time, you weren't even talking about LSU in terms of the state as a program that was even that high pinnacle. You had Tulane, you had UNO, you had other coaches in the state around the state that were doing better at that point before Skip Bertman came along and then absolutely turned that program around to where they were winning national titles. And now because you have that, LSU baseball is where it is because it was also formed at a time when college baseball isn't what college baseball is today. And the unfortunate part is that when you're a team like LSU basketball that also has loads of history, it's, people choose what they want to. And when you have one that's winning national titles and then the other that's, maybe winning an SEC title here and there and maybe pulling out, an NCAA tournament run here and tournament run there because it's a lot harder in college basketball, that's going to happen.
Yeah, but LSU basketball had a consistent run, and they were rocking it, and they've been so up and down. That's why the interest wanes. Now, I bet you LSU baseball, if they had struggles for consistent years, they would have a dip in attendance. The interest would wane. I'm telling you, it would wane, but they're consistently good. So there's a different story there. So, all right, hour number 1 is up. Hour number 2 is on the way. The Graf is staring at me. Right now, he's afraid of what I'm going to do to him.
No, he's not afraid of you. But let's just say that when he gets on, he's going to have some things to say for Jeff Duncan.
Oh my gosh, already?
Yeah, I'm just going to push the mic over. I'm going to give him my headset. I'm just going to sit here and brace.
Get the horn, Clyde. Hour number 2's coming.
Bring it.
Sports 1280. See ya. I'm like looking at the seconds.
I didn't know Bill Curl died.
Yeah. He's been sick for a while.
Well, I know that, but I didn't know.
I got Tom, I think, is putting something together for Tulane. I was like, does anybody out there know Bill? Who are the old school people who know him?
Ken Barflot.
Yeah.
Bill was actually, I'll give you one of the great all-time stories
I mean, Hondo.
in history.
Huh? Does Hondo know Bill?
Well, Doug Thorne. I'm
So-
at Tulane now.
So
Oh,
Tulane's playing Florida State.
Look,
Tulane's playing Florida State.
It's hot as monkey balls
jeez.
here.
Stick that,
Late 80s.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, Dad.
Hey.
Tulane-
They asked about you last night.
I would imagine they did.
imagine that.
Tulane's playing Florida State in late 80s, and we're just getting killed. And Bill was actually on the broadcast. It was Kenny, Steve, and Bill Curl. And the context of it, Kenny tells the story the best. But, Bill said something to the effect that, and they were talking about Bobby Bowden and whatever it is. And Bobby was at West Virginia or something when he got his first head job.
no way.
Yeah, and they just And they started laughing, and they couldn't stop laughing. That was basically when he got his first head job.
It sounds like something you say too.
But you know, he's talking about a coach.
Right. He was just such a good
He was.
human being.
No,
I forgot to put my other drink in the fridge. Now it's in my bag and it's warm.
Wah, wah.
Totally blew it.
Why don't you go with us?
Because you don't have any TVs
Come on,
in this
go with
place.
us. Go with us.
Oh, he was not happy about when I told him we were going to boxing.
You got the U.S. Open and World Cup on. You're not going to watch?
There might be a TV inside.
I got to pick my kid up at 2.
We'll get you some champagne to celebrate.
Are you really buying champagne?
Can I go? Are you wearing flip flops?
Yeah, you definitely can go. You can go for an hour. Just
Yeah, I
get
can
a
go for
toast
an
of champagne, and then
I'll
we'll
go for it.
we'll toast to you getting the Saints play-by-play gig, and then we'll toast to us going 1 year.
I will say this: I may make a grand proclamation about that within this
I'm
hour.
doing the show before the show. You gotta save that kind of stuff.
Hey, Dave.
Until you get on the air.
The shirt before the shirt.
Oh God,
All right, Todd. So I'm gonna go Roy Firestone on you. I'm gonna try to make you
Roy
cry.
Firestone. That's a good.
I'm gonna try to make
recall.
him cry.
I don't know what the pressures of $12 million.
Whatever happened to him? You
I
know,
wondered that too. He just
early
kinda-
days of ESPN,
he was like the
huge.
guy.
He was huge.
Yeah, he
I
was
watched-
the
It was
guy.
like appointment viewing. I
It's
watched
actually,
that. What was
it's-
that show called? I don't remember.
Oh, God. ESPN?
Up close.
Up close,
Up close
with
with
Roy
Roy
Firestone.
Firestone. Yep.
And he had everybody on.
He
it.
had everybody.
And then
I
like
know
he
the
just
pressures of
disappeared. That'd be a
12
good
million
35.
And the background was just like this gray, stale background. It was just like
Right.
randomly
He'd be
just
a
in a
good 30
room.
for 30 if you could get him. You know.
Oh, Roy.
I mean, he was such a weird looking dude too. It's kind of weird. He had that kind of half afro thing going.
Half afro.
Afro. Oh God.
So when you interview Archie for this thing?
Last week. Last week he was went and met him down in his restaurant. That's what DeMacher sent me. Because in the story I talked about how DeMacher wanted to get him over near a window to get better lighting for the photos.
Oh.
And so like Archie had to get up, and you could see he was like not
Hurting.
moving very well. So I wrote about
Thanks,
that.
DeMacher.
I wrote about that. Said like
Made him
like,
fall.
you could see that he was gingerly walking, and DeMacher tweeted me, texted me, and said, "I broke Archie Manning with my
I broke him.
lighting request."
I broke him. Just like Edwin broke Robert Meacham when he ran him over. On
right.
Or poor Adrian McPherson when he got run over by T-Rack.
And then he said, I told him, I said, put in quotes, a photographer, instead of putting his name.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes,
DeMacher, DeBreaker.
I'm painfully aware that we are just the faceless help. He goes, on the other hand, we get all the girls.
Ladies, for the
The
ladies. But yes, you were asking about it. And we did tell them that if you got the gig, you would not do Tulane anymore. We'd explain the hierarchy of like the hire.
We also told him you told us you would sleep with Diane Newman to get the job.
This is on freaking YouTube. Will you shut up? My God.
Hey, Graf.
1F.
Oh, God.
You're the one that agreed to come in here.
I mean,
What? What did I do?
don't matter anyway.
No one's watching on YouTube.
Did you ever get a hold of Steve Ray or not?
I did. He actually emailed me back.
Good dude,
I sent him a. No, I didn't text him because I just felt it was going to be a really
Just
long
emailed him?
text.
Yeah.
So I emailed him, and he emailed me back today. He's actually traveling Europe right now with his daughter. So
Oh, is it?
I was like, "Yeah, man, let's meet up at Finn's and watch some of these
Oh
games."
yeah.
And,
He's
but he's going to be gone the whole time.
So what are you doing? Staying for the hour?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
I'm not. I mean,
Oh, well, if you're coming with the bathroom, might as well stay for the
yeah,
hour.
100%.
so
Cool. All right.
Yeah,
yeah,
he's a
I
really
sent
good
him.
dude.
I sent him a.
Just
After
compliment him
I
on the
read this, I felt compelled to email him. I mean, I thought it was just.
It's a
I
great
couldn't
book.
put the book down.
No, it's a great read. He's a good
It
writer.
took me 2 days.
Yeah,
I read the whole thing.
He's a good writer.
No, I was like you encapsulated it perfectly, and just from somebody who was on the outside looking in and then became part of it. But the thing that I liked about it was I wanted to meet his pub mates. I wanted to go to Finn's and like meet all
All
these
those
people.
characters, yeah. He
You know?
brings out those characters really well.
So, and now they're
Yeah, it's kind of one of those books when you look at it, you're like, is this any good? You know, it's kind of, and then as I started reading it, I was like, wow.
So, yeah, because my wife, before I met my wife, you know, she went to Finn's because that's all the Irish people are going there.
Yeah.
And I was like, when did you start going to Finn? She's like, probably in, you know, 06, 07. I said, I guarantee you know all these people in this book.
Got
I
to.
guarantee it.
Got to.
So, and then he said, he told me, he goes, I absolutely know your wife.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's very cool. See, that just pisses me off that they changed that app and didn't tell anybody. Like, oh, just prepared to go on another rant.
what a surprise. I can go on my World Series rant if you want. College World Series rant.
Oh, wonderful. Yes.
I'm deaf.
Dunc and Holder, hour number 2 on a Friday, June 15th. One more hour of Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280. And pleased to have the Graf, Todd Graffinini, of course, the voice of the Tulane Green Wave. He's wearing a jersey of a team that's in some silly little event that's going on where, I mean, I'm not even paying attention because I'm an American. There's no Americans in it. I'm out. See ya.
How did y'all get to be friends when you're all so different with your sports tastes? How'd that happen?
Jeff, that's actually a very interesting question because I
Was
say it all
alcohol
the time.
involved?
I say it all the time. I'm friends with a guy who has no allegiance to anybody.
I got an allegiance to me.
Which is completely the opposite
his
of my
hair.
personality.
I'm a me guy.
I will say I am wearing an Ireland soccer jersey, but Ireland is not in the tournament, by the way.
So what are you even wearing that
Because
for?
my son, today is Father's Day snack at my son's daycare place.
And what are you doing here then?
Because, well, it's at 2 o'clock.
Oh.
He is decked out in all Ireland head-to-toe soccer jersey, so I wanted to match him.
Nice.
Now, I will say
Hey,
this.
Ireland.
See, Mr. Snarky, you got a good answer there.
But they're not even in it.
They're not in it. Italy's not in it. I can't even root for my home country.
America's not in it.
America's not in it. What?
Just pick Russia. They're going to win it. It's rigged. Putin is
They
going to
looked
rig
like
this thing.
Brazil yesterday.
They looked like they had Pele, Ronaldo, Rivaldo,
The next question we're going
Geraldo,
to get from Larry
Fred.
is if the shell shockers are in it. That's the next question.
They don't even exist.
They
They're the
don't.
jesters. I know that. Wow, the shell shockers.
I do have to say, Jeff, I really enjoyed your interview with Stephen Ray last week, and so much so the fact that I did read that Finn McCool's Football Club soccer book, and I thought it was just fantastic.
Yeah, it's a great book, and the World Cup is a great event, and we need to educate Sir Lawrence over here on some of these other sports.
And one more thing before we get
He's
into
getting
it.
into horse racing. so
I did
even
learn, as everybody did today, the passing of Bill Curl, who was the former sports information director at Tulane University, who, when I was 21, 22 years old, Jeff, just getting into Tulane athletics and being welcomed in, Bill did everything above and beyond to make me feel welcome, and it's just a very sad day for not only Tulane University, but all the local media people like yourselves who got to know Bill over the years. Are just a very kind, give the shirt off his back kind of gentleman, and he will be very sorely missed.
Yeah, really a fixture within the sports community for years and years and years.
Yeah, I mean, he was a class act. Everybody that encountered Bill Curl, and he was, I would say, one of our great ambassadors for our city, not just the sports world, but for New Orleans in general. I know many of my colleagues that came in, especially after Katrina, to do stories on the rebirth of the city, the rebuilding of the Superdome, from some of the biggest media outlets in the world that would meet Bill Curl, and he would go out of his way to meet them 24/7 to tell that story and tell it properly and give them whatever they needed. That's what a really good PR person does, but Bill went above and beyond the call of duty just because that was his nature. He was just a good human being and a classic Southern gentleman that is a great loss for New Orleans sports.
Absolutely, yeah, no doubt about that. Yeah, let's. Well, there's no good segue, so all right, I guess I'll segue back. So, okay, actually, Clyde, give us a World Cup update just so I can get involved, so I don't feel like a total dope. I guess it's
Well, I mean,
the
you're
cool
still
thing
a
to
total
do
dope
is to
anyway,
get
so it
involved in
doesn't
the World
matter.
Cup. It's the cool thing to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's cool to do. And, we're gonna silently judge you or vocally judge you.
No
either
one
way.
silently judges me.
Yeah,
It's
that's true
all
because it's
verbal.
what you deserve. So
Or
right now,
emojis.
obviously, we're in the second half of Game 2 of today's action. Morocco and Iran are both in a 0-0 draw.
Wait. The United States and Mexico and Canada, didn't they beat Morocco for the World Cup? Am I right?
They did beat Morocco.
See, I know something.
Yes, they beat out.
That's all they're doing. They're beating them out in hosting. They can't even get in to the World Cup, but Morocco is somehow in. Morocco. Not the United States of America, Morocco.
I'm not going to get into this
Go
with you
ahead.
about bids and everything, especially with the number of bids that Africa gets. So we're gonna move on here. The first match of the day, early this morning at the crack of dawn, Uruguay got a 1-0 victory over Egypt. The Mo Salah left Egypt. He did not play. He's still recovering from that injury in the
Never
Champions
heard
League
of
final.
He doesn't know who that is.
Yeah, of course not. Well, I'm
Speaking
talking
Swahili.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm talking to
You're
the real
talking
fans.
in hieroglyphics.
Yeah,
You're
I'm-
talking in like shapes and things.
Yeah, exactly. So 1-0 win for Uruguay. They are on top of the group. Jose Jimenez scored in the 89th minute. It looked like it was going to go to a 0-0 draw, which would have been great for Egypt. Not so great for Uruguay, but now they're on top
Or
of the
the
group with 3
consumer.
points. Or the consumer, but an 89th minute winner, that's pretty good. So you've got one team already on top of the group, and it looks like the other 2 teams, which will lead into the big match of the day, which I hope is going to be on when we get to our place of residence later this afternoon.
Yeah, it's called
Spain.
Bacchanal. We're just
Bacchanal.
putting it out there.
Okay,
That's where
to
we're
Bacchanal.
going after the show. I don't care.
We're degenerates.
The
It doesn't matter.
The groupies are going to be lined up.
I hope so.
The ladies
Not really.
are coming.
Not really.
The
That's not-
lady,
that's
all the
not really.
ladies from the Light Rock Express show on
Ladies!
Saturday, they're coming.
No, the last match of the day is the big one: Portugal, Spain. It's going to be a huge match. In my opinion, both teams will sit back, easily get the draw, and then beat everybody else because they're going to finish 1-2 in the group anyway.
So they're going to rig it. Is that what
They're not
you're
gonna
saying?
rig
They're
it.
going
They're
to
just
sit
not
back
gonna-
and get a draw.
I mean, they're going to play some off the counter, but they're not really going to go for it. Because they know that at this point, they just need to get the knockout rounds and hope they don't play each other.
At least Todd did tell me about that yesterday, and I will say this: all joking aside, I am intrigued for a Spain-Portugal. That is, for me being novice soccer guy, I know that is a huge matchup, even in the group stage. I get that. I'm cool with that. Okay, I would watch that.
Congratulations.
I would watch that. Just saying.
We're
Well
making
done,
progress.
Hashtag just saying.
I mean, he agreed this year to watch some of the Triple Crown, so we're actually getting
Well, that's because I
progress.
trust your boy Pat Forty, and he's made me money.
I mean, this is a big time sports weekend with World Cup and U.S. Open going on. This is good stuff. So make sure there's a TV at this place, Jeff.
Yes. This
Please.
is
Call Bacchanal.
this
Go.
is actually
Ring 'em
a
up.
huge sports weekend. U.S. Open this could be one of the best U.S. Opens we've ever seen.
And just to piggyback on what you guys were saying in the first hour, I love it. And I'm an avid golfer. I love to play it when I can. I was actually out yesterday before we got lightninged in after 6 holes. But
You guys they were like
we went back out there.
y'all were the
before-
priests
yes.
from Caddyshack looking
We
to
went back
scream
out
rat
there.
farts and get electrocuted.
We went back out there before they actually let people back out on the course. So I got my up and down. I finished my par, and I told my playing partners, I said, I think we better get back inside. And sure enough, about literally 10 minutes later, the heavens opened up and we got out of there. But when you go in for that rain delay, Jeff, everyone's sitting in the grill and watching the golf, and everybody's got a smile on their face because you're looking at +7s, +8s, +9s. There's blood all over the course. It was beautiful.
Todd, yeah, we were talking about that, the lead-in of the show, that I feel like if you're, say, Father's Day, and look, obviously there's no football and basketball's over, but if you're a sports fan, you don't watch golf per se, but you would watch the U.S. Open because it humanizes the sport. It makes the titans of the sport feel a little more human, and you kind of feel better about yourself. Because, look, I go out there hacking around, and I'd play that terrible on, it could be a putt-putt course, I'd play that
You could
terrible.
argue that Rory McIlroy is the greatest golfer on this planet. He shot 80 yesterday. 80.
I know, it's incredible. A lot of the big names struggle. So that's what the U.S. Open's all about, though. That is one of the attractions, you know. So
It's raining today, though. By the way, it's
in
it's
Long
drizzling.
Island?
Yes, it is.
Oh.
So that's going to soften it up a little bit.
Well, as long as weren't we watching together when it took 70 people to find Dustin Johnson's
Yes,
ball
and
yesterday?
they were stamping all over the hay, and
Yes.
then they found it. And what I couldn't understand was he had to drop, and they didn't give him a penalty shot.
Todd wasn't this calm
I was,
yesterday when he was.
I was very
talking about that.
confused.
Very.
You know, I never got an
You
explanation.
were angry about it. He was
Because
about
if you
to
lose
be.
your ball, it's
Right.
a lost ball.
No,
and
definitely.
he got a drop.
Todd
And he
was
didn't
about
lose
to
his
be
stroke.
that rando fan who calls the PGA and gets a rule change and it messes with the tournament.
a rando fan.
His
That's
ball,
golf. That's
his
a golf
ball
fan.
oscillated to the side.
No, is that the? That sounds like the people that play esports.
Oh,
Esports that get
why
on
are you
the hot
talking on
chicks.
Dave?
The hot chicks that Clyde's talking about. I think it has more to do with their
I think
wallet.
Clyde is
than
playing.
their
What's
joystick.
What's the?
But
Oh
I want
my
to switch
gosh.
gears real quick because I'm glad we got
Switch.
having Todd in the house. I want to get his opinion on this because I threw it out there yesterday on social media. I asked for the greatest Saints touchdown celebration.
Why don't we take a break right here on the show?
Okay.
We've got Todd for the whole hour. So
I wanna hear
let's do a
Todd's
tease.
thoughts on that.
Oh, I totally agree. Yeah, let's do that. All right, let's take a break right here on the show. We got the graph with us for the rest of the hour to wrap up our 11 months of glory, Duncan Holder. I will say this, and I'm glad you put it out on Twitter. Chris Gordy will be taking our time slot from 10 to noon. He does an awesome job. If you don't listen to him regularly already, you're missing out. He gets awesome guests. He's got great perspective. So he is going to be taking our time slot starting on Monday, and he's not going to miss a beat. So it's going to be great for the station. D squared, David DeCorbier is taking his slot from 2 to 4, talking esports, talking, I don't know, comic book characters,
Just anything geek related.
anything geek related, and that's why he gets all the ladies.
No, actually, we're going to be on there, so I guess we're the geeks. We're going to be guests on the show. So who calling myself a geek, which I guess I am.
I'm a geek.
You are anything but.
Oh, Clyde
You are
screaming.
anything but.
Get the horn!
Get the horn.
You are anything but. I can't hear the horn, so I don't care. Is there music playing? I don't care. I can't hear anything.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, you are guys, but neither of you are nerds.
Derailment.
Neither of you are nerds.
Blow the horn! Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Who cares? It's a Friday. It's Duncan. Last day. That's right. Oh, there's the horn.
I heard it.
Who are these goobs you're talking about?
Romelu
Romelu
Lukaku,
Lukaku.
Kevin De Bruyne,
Kevin De Bruyne,
Eden Hazard.
Jibba-dabba-dabba-doo, what? Scooby-Doo.
I mean, it's like
That's the one most people said.
Now,
I got one. Another
the
random
greatest-
one somebody.
The greatest post, like not non-TD celebration, is the Tracy Porter interception.
Yes.
After Brett Favre in the NFC Championship, and he did who was the defensive lineman for the Vikings who every time he got a sack he would.
Jared Allen?
That's
Yeah,
it.
Jared Allen sack, the
So when
sack dance.
Tracy Porter intercepted Brett Favre,
That's a good one.
he did the Jared Allen
That's-
Yeah.
right in his face.
That's a good
Yeah.
one.
That's
So
the
good.
greatest celebration.
No. I'm gonna
Or
say
Joe Horn.
I'm going to say the greatest celebration.
Save for the show.
I'm
Don't.
going to say the
It's
greatest
okay. The
celebration.
YouTubers are getting it. We don't care. Y'all
I've
can-
got one. I've got a little different one than y'all probably.
Oh no, I already know where I'm going. It's going to be sad.
Maybe the
It's going to be
Jeff
sadly
Charleston Vanilla
pathetic.
Gorilla light bulb.
Man, that was what I was going to say. Man, you took it. The most anonymous Saints in history.
Hey man, look, that man is
Jeff
that man is
Charleston.
in the middle of a separation. We cannot make fun of him. It's
Yes,
not
we
hard.
can.
Yeah, no, we actually can't because
He's getting separated. Clay Harbor got the boot off.
Dude,
the
did you see
Bachelorette.
that?
No, I did
He
not.
booed himself.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he injured
quit.
his. They had a football game. He injured his wrist, and he told her that he couldn't jeopardize his NFL career to stay on the
He
show.
has no
Then he
NFL
had
career.
to-
It's over.
Then he had to leave the show to get it taken care of. She cried. They
Are
made
you
out,
serious?
and he left. It was great.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
that
dude.
was what happened.
Yeah.
I just saw his tweet like, it was a great opportunity. I didn't regret trying to chase love.
Oh my god! Are you serious?
What a
I mean,
loser.
What a
Watch this
friggin'
crap.
loser. Good God.
He has no career.
Oh,
Yeah, he literally said I couldn't jeopardize the rest of my NFL career, and I really enjoyed being on
Me
The
too.
Bachelor. And it was like, get the hell
He
out.
has no career.
Don't tell that to him, man.
Just like the most anonymous saint.
Although he went out like he wanted to go out, which was scoring the winning touchdown in some fake football game.
More
Why did he give? And he gave the girl like some
dance
tongue.
compilation.
Not afterwards, but like got a chest bump or something. They had like a handshake or something like that, and it was all.
He get a chest bump from the Bachelorette.
Yeah, he actually did. Got a chest bump.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The ladies.
20 seconds. Stage right.
$20 seconds.
Oh, that's it. You are deaf. Years of talking to the headset.
I didn't know Uruguay scored. That was good.
Yeah, they did.
Welcome back, Dunc and Holder, here on a Friday, June 15th. Last 40 minutes of Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280. Pour one out for the homies.
I'm getting misty.
This is
Pour one
really going to put a dent in my walking routine, gentlemen, I must admit.
Why? I could just walk with you.
But the point
You hold
is that
hands. You
you
can hold
guys
hands.
are my accompaniment on my miles jaunts.
Chris
through the park.
Gordy could be good company. He'll be good company.
With all due respect to Chris, and I like Chris a lot, it's not you guys. Just saying.
All right.
Oh,
Just saying.
Nice. I'm
I
glad
can
we
take that.
invited Graf.
I heart you, Graf. I heart you.
Graf's great.
Exactly. You know what else is great? Good segue.
Here we go.
Touchdown celebrations, or just celebrations in general. And I already know, and Jeff put it out on Twitter, Jeff, why did you during the commercial break, you totally stole my thunder of great
I didn't
celebrations.
know you were going there. I had no idea you were going there.
Why? Because he's the most anonymous saint ever, and the fact that you remember his celebration that he twisted the light bulb.
Well, wait. Let's tell everybody who you're talking about.
Well, enough people who've listened to the show know I think Jeff Charleston is the most anonymous Saints player in history.
Which is wrong.
Why is he on a reality show that hopefully gets
I
canceled?
think we know why he's on a reality show.
I don't know why.
One, he's a former NFL player,
Barely.
and he's got a
He's
very
got a
inter-
Super Bowl ring.
very interesting.
Does have a Super Bowl ring.
So does Paul Spicer. He has a Super Bowl ring. So does, let's see, I could rattle off a bunch of
but
other
he
other
lives
folks.
in New Orleans,
No, he doesn't.
North Shore. So
See, Clyde's right. Clyde's
lives
got
on the
my
North
back.
Shore, but before he lives in the New Orleans metropolitan area. Okay.
Barely.
Okay, so he lives in New Orleans.
Curtis Lofton still lives here. Put him on. He's fun.
And he's an interesting cat. Jeff
Wow,
Charleston's an
why?
interesting guy.
Anyway, I'm
He's a
oh my
former
gosh.
carpenter that made it in the NFL. That's a great story.
Great story.
Yes.
Who said 2 words in
And
his
who
entire
you
Saints
are
career.
now getting ready to let everybody know you loved his celebration.
No, I didn't. It was all of this was facetious. Sorry,
What?
guys.
Here.
Sorry.
It's one of
Anyway,
the great sack celebrations in the
it
history of
is
the NFL.
not. Oh my. Oh no. Graf had a great celebration that I kind of zoned out and forgot about. It wasn't necessarily a touchdown celebration, but I think yours was tremendous, Todd.
When Tracy Porter intercepted Brett Favre in the NFC Championship game to basically send that game to overtime. Of course, the Vikings at the time had one of the great sack masters in the NFL, Jared Allen, and every time Jared Allen would sack the quarterback, he did his little deal. He'd do the lasso, and then he'd get on his knees, and then he'd open his arms up to the heavens. Well, when Tracy Porter intercepted that pass and he got tackled, he did the exact same celebration right in front of the Vikings bench. I thought it's, again, to this day, it just gives you chills.
I gotta
Troll
give.
job.
Yeah.
Trolled him.
Complete.
I got to give it to Tracy for having the
I
wherewithal
mean,
to
he
do
did
that
it
in the moment.
perfectly.
Honestly.
Perfectly, if you watch it again.
All right, so my favorite was not mentioned. Actually, somebody did mention. I shouldn't say that. Somebody did mention. But most of the people that responded on social media brought up the Lance Moore
Right.
celebration, the key appeal, very well choreographed. That was probably the most spontaneously funny one I ever saw. But the one that I enjoyed the most was Drew Brees in Miami against the Dolphins, kind of, I guess you would say, the exclamation point on the comeback with him spiking the ball over the goalpost. I think it shocked everybody that Drew Brees could get up like that.
Great one.
White quarterbacks can jump.
White 6-foot quarterbacks. Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's a really good
And that was a good one because I think it kind of was a highlight for the entire season. And I know he can't get up there anymore. I think he's tried it. I think he did a layup last
He'll do a
time.
finger roll.
He did a finger roll, George Gervin. But back then, Drew Brees had some hops. And that was one I'll always remember because we were there watching it when it happened.
And of course, you think about Jimmy Graham in the Georgia Dome.
That's the one I was going to say. Yeah,
tilted the goalpost, and now you can't dunk it anymore.
It's the Jimmy Graham rule. It is funny that there are rules. They have the Garrett Hartley rule, which is the overtime rule, and now they have the Jimmy Graham rule, which is the dunk rule. You can't dunk through the goalpost, but at least you can have a little bit more fun on the celebrations. I do think that you could dog out the NFL for so many stupid things that they do, but laxing on the touchdown celebrations, finally, I think that is a fun, smart move. And you saw all kinds of. I like it's not Saints, but I like the race walking one. I thought that was hilarious.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, you know,
leapfrog. What they do, like a leapfrog?
Yeah, exactly. I'm more partial to when Jimmy jumped in the stands and the Joker grabbed his tush. That was a memorable one.
Something you're trying to tell us?
Yeah, like tush
Something
grabs.
going on there?
Hey, I'm good with someone grabbing my tush. It means it got a good tush.
Well, we haven't even mentioned the Joe Horn cell phone.
That one's obvious.
I mean, that'll go down in history as the best, just because he was so creative with it. I remember when it happened, I was covering the game, I was like, what's going on there? They had no idea what was happening.
The incredible thing about that one is it had to have been caught in that end zone. That was the Gerard Street end zone, if I'm not mistaken. And what if he catches the touchdown in the Poydras Street end zone? There's no cell phone.
Doesn't happen, yeah.
Or did he have two?
I'm going to assume he had a phone in each.
I think he only had one in that end.
I've never asked him. I wasn't covering the team, obviously, back
That's
then.
what you
But I'm
need to
wondering.
know.
I'm wondering if the phone was in the other booth, in the other one, or if the phone would have been like the old Zach Morris phone, like the big old phone where you got to put up. Yeah, that would have been fun.
Joe Horn was a classic. He was one of the great people to cover in my career because he was so honest. And he would say anything. And I remember Jim Haslett used to get so upset with us. Why are you always going to Joe Horn? I'm like, why do you think we're going to Joe Horn?
Well, that's like our editors, whenever we quote, say Drew Brees too much. Why do you keep going to him? Well, you ask him something and he gives you could have no story going into a locker room and Drew Brees could give you 5 stories because he's just so on point.
Well, when I was talking to my mythological warrior, Taysom Hill, this week,
you have created the Taysom train. You are the conductor of the Taysom train. Well, and I will say this. I'm kind of throwing you under the bus. You kind of said the same thing about Ryan Griffin a few years ago.
No,
you better pull up that column.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Not even close.
The Greenbackers last night remembered you deemed Ryan Griffin the greatest thing ever since Joe Montana.
I said he might be their developmental guy down the road. Exactly what he was, and he's going to play in the NFL. He was
still in the NFL.
He was going to be the backup to Jameis Winston last year, and he's a good player.
He got hurt.
He's a good player.
Yeah, he did get hurt.
Got hurt.
In Hard Knocks, he got hurt.
But what Taysom Hill was saying, I was asking him about Drew Brees. What's your impression of Drew Brees now you've been with him a year? And he was very observant about him. He said the thing that's made the biggest impression on him is how compartmentalized he is, how regimented and disciplined, which we all know with his time, especially now. They've got 4 kids, he and Brittany. But he said something that was extremely observant. He said when Drew, whatever he's doing at that moment, he's going to be the best at it. Now, he said that might be being a dad. It might be being the husband. It might be being the interview subject with the media, which is what you're alluding to. When you get Drew Brees focused and get him in front of you, he will give you the best answer to your question that you've ever gotten. And he does that with whatever he's doing. He succeeds at it. I'm sure he's that way with the Brees Dream Foundation, when he's dealing with his charity, when he's doing his businesses. Whatever it is, he's going to achieve. And so it's not by accident that he's gotten to where he's gotten.
And it's a rare thing.
Right.
This isn't the norm.
It's hard to do.
It's
all the time.
I agree.
Never takes a day, even a minute off, hardly. And we see it sometimes. Sometimes you try and get him after his, his big Wolfpack interview where we're all gathered around him, and you try and get him to walk. He's walking away because he's already been darting his eyes at the clock because he knows he's in a meeting that he needs to get to, and he wants to be there.
That happened to me a couple of days ago. But here's the thing. Say with like you or me or say Mike Triplett or Brett Martell, he will give you like the people he trusts and the people who've been around, the seasoned guys who he gives us the time for us to get kind of our own perspective, and even if it's, I've had controversial topics, things where he's remembered that I've done from years ago, but it's still, he doesn't hold, say, this grudge. He's always, he's upfront with you, and I think that's all you can ask for, and gracious with his time. So look, we're talking just kind of inside baseball media stuff, but when he leaves, here's the thing, when he's gone, we're going to miss him as a player. We're going to miss him as an interview subject because he's candid, he's honest, and even though he could be annoyingly optimistic, a la that's what Scott Vegeta called him, still, he's someone who tells it basically like it is.
I think we said the same thing about Zach Street. He was another one of those guys.
Sure.
Will Smith was like that. I loved Will Smith because he was not afraid to speak his mind. Scott Vegeta. There's only a few guys that I've covered that can do that because they have to have the skins on the wall in the locker room, or else it's going to come raining down from above.
Well, Joe Horn, like you mentioned, was the same way.
Right.
Right, exactly. So, all right, let's take a break right here on the show. We got Todd Grappanini here in studio. When we get back, we'll ask Todd some interesting questions.
Let's put him on the spot.
That's what I'm going to do.
Oh boy.
I love
Oh boy.
making Todd squirm. That's kind of impossible, though. But we'll try our best here on a Country Fried Friday. 30 more minutes of Dunc and Holder. Eric Asher will be following us noon to 2. Chris Gordy, for the time being, 2 to 4. Corey Johnson from 4 to 6. Chris Gordy, again, will be replacing us next week, 10 to noon. Do not tune out of Sports 1280. It's going to be a killer lineup. And, of course, our own Dave DeCorbier will be taking over from 2 to 4 starting next week. So coming back, 30 more minutes of Dunc and Holder here, Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. Bruh, we might be getting stormed on.
Yeah, no. It's gonna be
like
bad.
yesterday.
It's gonna be extra wet today.
Bach and
Dude. Brown got screwed yesterday.
well, at least you got to play 6 free holes.
It's true. Supposed to play Sunday morning with Corey, but I don't know if that's going to happen. City Park South,
Man,
Bayou Oaks.
Father's Day morning wrap.
No, like 6:50 tea time. I'll be done by 11. They'll still be in bed.
I won't be in bed. I'll be getting trampled on by my kids, I'm sure. I literally got trampled on today, this morning.
Y'all can handle it while I go to the bathroom.
What?
Tinkle, tinkle, tea.
Thanks, bro.
What happens when you have a bladder the size of a walnut?
Yeah.
Freaking coffee in there.
I gotta pee every 20 minutes.
Yeah, because of that shit.
So,
Just saying.
Woohoo! All right, what are you asking me?
I don't know, I'm not telling you. So get ready.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, I'm not telling you, so get ready.
I'm not telling you to get ready. I'm not telling you to get ready.
I mean, Iran and Morocco.
Yeah.
So it's
this
the
is
Iron Sheik versus someone else.
I spit the puh. America puh.
He just knocked himself unconscious.
Hulk Hogan beat the Iron Sheik in like 30 seconds.
Woohoo! Man, it's 11:30 already. Fast.
Thank God, because I had nothing planned. The fact that you came in, it's glorious.
Yeah.
Big prep. Big
Yeah.
prep guy.
Yeah.
Mail it in.
Yes, this would be a mail-in Friday.
No, it's
not
still
a country fried Friday.
Well, I mean, can it be both?
Right.
27 minutes left. 26 now.
But seriously, dude, if it storms, where are we going to go? Are you
That's
still
what
gonna
we
go
want.
there?
We want it to storm, as I said yesterday. We want it to storm so it'll cool off. We won't be sitting out in the freezing.
It ain't going to be
Oh,
hot
sitting in a
now.
puddle. Sitting in a puddle.
You two
Jabronis.
What?
jabroni whiners.
I just want to watch something on television. That's all I want to do.
Preach.
I think they actually have TVs in the
Okay.
indoor
As long as they do.
part.
Oh,
They're
upstairs
freaking
indoors, they
better.
do
Go
have
indoors.
it.
I'm
And we
serious.
Watch a little
They
bit,
do.
then we
Well,
go
we're
back.
gonna be indoors if
They
there's
do
a
have that
monsoon.
upstairs.
Yeah, they do, because I've gone and watched games.
Yeah.
Golly.
Gotta go
But I
back.
said we got
I don't even have kids. I feel like I
go
got
back
kids
to
in
chart
here.
room.
Thanks, Dad.
Oh, speaking of, we got to talk about Bradley too, because I'm going to tell you something about that dude.
Oh.
Oh boy.
What about him?
So yesterday, I go have dinner yesterday. It's a big group, and then before he immediately walks in, says, "Hey," and then taps me on the shoulder. He's like, "Hey, I need you to help me move my couch." I'm like, "You son of a bitch."
Who
Bradley?
wants him to
Yes.
move him? Hand worker?
Yes.
I didn't hear what it's going on.
That's hilarious.
It's like, what the-
Bradley of the hand worker.
Dave, you know the way straight to my heart. It's to play Country Fried Hootie. I love Hootie. Hootie is Darius Rucker, Clyde. One more jab. I just got to do it. All right, Todd's nervous. He was asking me during the break, "What the hell are you going to ask me, Larry?" I said, "I'm not telling you."
All right, well, let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
I want to know, as, say, a play-by-play broadcaster,
Yes.
your livelihood.
Yes.
I don't feel like I can do it, and I host a show. What goes into being a play-by-play guy, honestly? Because look, and people are going to say, "Larry, you're Todd's one of your best friends, yada yada yada." Look, we listen to Tulane because of you, honestly. I do it. I know Jeff does it. We got plenty of people who listen to it just for you because it's not always successful. How natural is this thing for you? Because it feels like, I know a zillion pounds of prep work you go into, but how do you make it natural?
Honestly, to me, baseball comes naturally to me because that's the sport that I played the most growing up. So doing play-by-play for baseball came very easy to me. Now, you refine your skills as the years go on, but I was given the opportunity to do play-by-play for baseball basically when I began, and that is all due to Ken Berthelot, who trusted me and allowed me to do it. I just finished my 11th year doing play-by-play for Tulane football and men's basketball. I've been doing baseball. I just finished 27 years. But I feel that, and you're learning every single week. You're trying to perfect your craft every single week. I listen to myself all the time. Just listening for things that you might miss during a game. I think it took me 8 years to where I think I can look at myself and go, I think I'm pretty solid doing what I'm doing. As far as bringing everything into it. In a technical sense, in lining people up, in calling the play correctly, setting the scene, painting the picture. You got to do all of that. I think it took me at least 8 years to where I feel that I'm in a pretty good spot. Like I said, never satisfied, but I had a lot of work to do. And the first game that I did way back in 2007, I thought, hey man, this is... And then you talk to somebody who's been in the business for a long time, and they tell you straight to your face that you're not good at all. You're terrible, actually, and you need a lot of work. And
So someone told you that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And this wasn't even the first game in. This is 5 years in. And I've been
What?
doing it
Wow.
5 years. And then you get evaluated, and you have people that are much better than you evaluating you, and they tell you that, no, you're no good. You're no good at all. So, but it makes you reassess what you're doing and how you prepare. And again, I think it took me a couple more years after that to get to where I am right now. And I think I'm pretty solid. I'm not great by any stretch of the imagination, but I think I call a pretty good football game. That's just me.
What's your favorite call you ever made?
Oh my goodness. The most favorite call I've ever made was when Matt Groff caught the final out at Zephyr Field to send Tulane to the World Series for the first time. That was a dream come true. I mean, I said I would never go to Omaha if I was not a part of it, if Tulane baseball was not a part of it. And when Matt Groff caught that ball, everything just kind of flooded.
So this was the Tulane LSU
This is the Tulane
Super.
LSU Super Regional in 2001.
Yeah, that's what I figured, right.
And again, with that weekend and what it meant to the city and to the state, and for me to have basically the best seat in the house all weekend long in what was a historic and unprecedented event. When you've got 35,000 people for a 3-game series, it's still, to this day, the record for a super regional attendance-wise. And for Tulane to not only go to the World Series, but to beat our arch nemesis and Skip Bertman, whose final game was that day. I mean, all the emotions came flooding at once, and that to me is my most favorite call now. Again, you've got what happened a couple of years ago with Jake Rogers.
Dave, I hope you have that.
That's my 15 minutes of fame.
Let's get that bad boy up.
Dave's getting ready to pull it up, but that's my 15 minutes of fame call. And you know, you work at something for years and years and years and years, and you never, you know, you always wonder, you got a little bit of an ego as a play-by-play guy that somebody's going to pick up one of your calls and they're going to play it. Well, this happened to be the one, and I just thank the heavens above that I didn't screw it up.
I just wonder, because play-by-play guys, some people have, say, catchphrases. I feel like when you do a game, it all is natural. It's not something that's kind of canned or staged, like you're waiting for, ooh, let me drop Yahtzee, like something ridiculous, or Jumanji, like ESPN. I feel like everything you do is just natural, and I think that's, I will say, look, like Jim Henderson, I think everything he did, natural. I feel like everything that you do is natural. How, I'm sure it's something you probably don't have a great answer to, but how do you just stay natural?
The one thing I pride myself on is that I am the guy that you're talking to right now. I'm the same way on the air. I don't really change. Now, you get into a zone, don't get me wrong. I mean, when you go back over the years, and I've listened to so many of my tapes over the years, you catch yourself going, man, I don't remember saying that when you're actually on the air, because you're zoned out. You're so locked into calling the ball game. But I guess the thing that I pride myself on the most is I don't have a radio voice, and I'm not talking. The guy you're talking to right now is the guy that's on the air.
Have you ever lost it? Like, I don't know, dropped something.
What? Has he ever lost it?
What I mean is, like, went over the line.
Oh, I thought you meant lost it on the air, like extreme.
I have been called to as a matter of fact, I think you'll like this story, Jeff. In the 1998 Conference USA baseball tournament at Zephyr Field, we were playing Louisville at the time.
I've heard of Louisville.
They were in a conference. And we had gone back, again, my brother Keith and all of his teammates, they were seniors at the time, and, you know, I was just a few years in, and I had watched these kids, you know, I was very fortunate. I've seen 3 of my brothers play every year, every game they've ever played at Tulane, I got to call, which is pretty cool. But Tulane and Louisville had a history, and even going back 3 or 4 years, there was always tension. There was always something going on because Louisville, basically, that's the way they were. I'm not getting really deep into it, not saying anything bad about Louisville, but
who invited crap here?
Well, there was a let's just say an incident at second base where I want to say the player was James McCauley. He went into second base hard, and Mike Purcell was our second baseman. And it was just a really hard slide, and they got up and they started pointing at each other and they started shoving and this and that. And I'll never forget it. And I uttered the words, well, here we go again, Tulane and Louisville, but when you're dealing with a classless bunch like Louisville, what else can you expect?
Yeah, got called to the office.
So at the time,
why?
No, in one of the suites at Zephyr Field were our athletic director, Louisville's athletic director at the time, and other certain VIPs. By the next morning, I was in Ken Berthelot's office, basically with my life dangling in front of my face. And he said, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go find Louisville's head coach, which was Lalo Prado at the time. I don't know if you remember Coach Prado, who went on to South Florida. I literally, the next day, had to go find Coach Lalo Prado, sit next to him in the stands, and apologize for my comments about what I said about his team. And I went and I was shaking like a bunny rabbit. And I went and sat there and said, "Hey, Coach, my name's Todd Graffinini. I do play-by-play for Tulane, and I called your team classless yesterday on the air." He goes, "Oh, I don't care about that." And that was it.
He
And
did.
it was over. Then it was
That's
over.
hilarious.
But yes, but again, you know, you're in the moment. You think that no one's listening, but they're listening. They're listening.
Absolutely. All right, let's go to break right here on the show. But as we go to break, Dave, do we have the 2-minute extravaganza of my favorite Todd Graffinini call of all time that I heard live in piping through every room in my house because I've got this old telecom and it's a radio, and so literally it piped through my entire house as it happened. But this is my favorite Graf call of all time. We'll play this and then we'll come back for one more segment here on Dunc and Holder. You do.
Ding. Ding. It ain't even a debate.
Yes.
So yesterday, Bogusevic's single was put on Twitter. That was the Ain't Even a Debate, the biggest hit since 2005.
Oh,
Did you see
really?
it on Twitter yesterday?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was the biggest
That
hit
was
since
the one.
yes, Bogusevic's single against Rice.
And
That
then-
was the biggest hit Tulane since 2005.
And
which
that
is
was the
Bogusevic's
that was
that
what
one.
we were talking about.
And now.
I hope you know why I'm doing this, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Thank you. I hope my answer was good enough too.
I even told Jeff yesterday, I was like, we're getting Todd on, and we're basically...
We're basically doing an hour long.
Well, I mean, no, but it was for the rest of the humanoids to realize what needs to happen.
Humanoids.
Humanoids. He switches into this
Yeah.
humanoid.
Good
Come on.
lord. Good God.
Bobby the Brain Heater,
Eric
my
Ash is
man.
listening.
What is that?
Thanks, E.
The old humanoids.
Uh,
I love Bobby the Brain Heater. He's awesome.
yeah, that would be one of your guys.
Oh, yeah, the Weasel.
10 minutes left of Dunc and Holder.
I know.
10 minutes.
10 minutes. 10 minutes left.
Cheer.
Eric said play it again.
I just played on a loop.
Oh, wow. Tommy Fleetwood shot a 66 today.
Jeez.
So,
Jeez.
there you go. Little rain, soften it up.
Yeah, it should be better
Fleetwood's
today.
good, though. He's a good player.
No, 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 no.
Didn't know this was coming. What a disaster.
yes.
That's what I'm known for this show.
Oh, yes.
That's what I'm known for.
That's
Talking
good
about
stuff.
putting myself out on a damn limb and my hair's still growing back from that bold proclamation.
That was the highlight moment, no question, of our first year.
Yeah, great moment.
It was a great night. I'd say that along with the actual shearing night, because that was pretty epic.
I will say this, I'm throwing our longtime former colleague of the Times-Picayune under the bus. The one person that pained me that night was Angus Lind. He took the shears, and I thought he was pulling my hair out. It's almost like he was just going to revel in it. Just do it.
I was just very excited and happy and relieved that your head was kind of smooth shit. You know, it wasn't like a bunch of bumpy looking.
I don't believe that at all. I thought you were hoping that there would be like scars. You were hoping that there was like some
I thought there
random.
might be like a Nazi swastika.
That's what I was going to say. Thanks, Jeff. Wow. White supremacist holder, I guess,
You
right?
just never know.
Yeah,
You never
just
know what's
never
under there.
know. You never
Never
know.
know what's
lot
under,
of coverage.
under the
Wow.
crop.
A
Yeah.
lot of coverage there. But it wasn't. There was nothing there. But
No, there
skin.
was not. There was not some
Smooth skin.
bigoted
That's all we had.
racist tattoo on my head. No, there was not.
I don't know. We just, we need to get to the bottom of it, and we did.
We did get to the
you
bottom.
did own
of
it. I have to give you credit for doing that, and we will continue to own it going forward in the future.
Absolutely. Look, but yeah, we're final segment here on Dunc and Holder. Want to thank everyone here at Sports 1280. It was an awesome ride. Look, it's we're not going to be strangers. Like I said, we're not leaving under these bitter circumstances. We didn't get like the show ripped away from us and oh, by the way, you're gone, and then the next day we disappeared. No, it's but we're just moving to a different platform, podcasts, and we're going to do that 3 days a week starting in late July. And also, like, I'll be honest with you, this is the first time I've ever driven a radio show, and it's a lot more work than I thought. To be flat out honest with you, it's but we couldn't have got it done without our buddy Dave, who's done an awesome job, and hopefully you don't take too many pointers from us when you get your own show starting next week, your own daily show, because you've always been knocking it out the Week in Geek, and Dave, happy that you're going to be getting your own show, bud.
I got a question. Who is who appeared on this show the most? Who's got the most caps, so to speak? If you want to go
Nice.
soccer
Good
term.
call.
Question?
Yes.
I mean, maybe
I'd say I was
Probably
gonna say
Will
I
Guillory,
was gonna
because
say
he would
Will,
come
too.
on every Wednesday.
or Katzenstein. one of those two, maybe. I don't know.
Yes, you did. We pissed him off yesterday, and he hung up on me. He hung up on me.
I was going to say Will.
It's got to be Will because it was Wobble Wobble Wednesday, so we had Will on. Well, also, the fact that the Pelicans played so well, there was an increased interest, and Will's our guy. And of course, Boogie Cousins, we've got that and right on tap. Who is your favorite guest, Jeff?
Wow, put me on the spot there.
I think I've got one, but who's your favorite guest?
I would probably say Clyde's interview with 5 Feet of Fury.
Oh, yeah.
That was definitely Clyde's favorite. I
Yeah.
promise you that.
Sorry.
5 Feet of Fury.
Oh, we got one.
With Clyde uttered the, historic words, #jealous.
Just right in the
Clyde's
street.
yelling, Iran just scored in stoppage time.
6 minutes of stoppage time.
The Iron Sheik scored.
Incredible, yeah.
Did he kick? Did he bend the ball with his curly little boot?
No, it was a last second header. So yeah.
To America,
Exactly. You stupid
Who
American.
was your favorite guest?
I would say LaCharles Bentley.
Really?
Remember that interview?
Yeah, that was a great interview.
He was great.
He uttered the famous line, young and dumb,
Yes. I would say.
which I use often.
Yes, I would say that was my favorite
Yes,
because
excellent.
he was awesome.
He was unvarnished.
Yes. Look, we've had some great interviews. I'm just saying that one sticks out to me because I just asked him a random topic about when Morris Claiborne and Jamal Adams said they want to die on the field, and LaCharles, I didn't know what I was going to get, and I remember writing a column, and I just transcribed that one answer. It was like 600 words. I was like, "This, I don't even need to write this. This is what the column needs to be," and he was tremendous. So that sticks out to me.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me either because you knew LaCharles. That's the way he was. I mean, he in his first game as a rookie for the Saints, I was covering it down in Tampa, and he ragdolled Warren Sapp, who it was in his prime, and Warren Sapp was in for a long day that day. And this kid was a rookie at Ohio State. He was a bad man.
And I'm glad to hear that because I'm not a Warren Sapp fan. So I'm glad LaCharles laid him out.
A lot of people aren't.
Right, exactly.
Anymore.
Rightfully so. A lot of people aren't. But yeah, so, all right, what was the... All right, you talked about the head shaving. What else stood out to you, Jeff? Your experience, because you've never done this before. Just getting on the radio.
Well, look, I think we established a brand, and I think we let everybody see a different side of us as columnists in the newspaper. It's one thing, you know, there's not a lot of some personality comes through in your prose, but for the most part, you don't get to see introduce yourself to the readers in a different way, and we've been able to do that. I think people get to see we're not all bad guys, you know. We're not. It just sometimes you don't agree with our opinion, but yeah, I think this has helped. I think people get to know us a little better as people. And it's been, I think, a very positive experience.
Yeah, I would agree. Look, it's something. Look, I've done radio, but this is a different avenue, and I'm just glad that even NOLA.com and Times-Picayune allowed us to do this because in the old school Picayune days, this would have never happened. Honestly, right?
You know, and I'm just glad I was allowed a platform for my pothole platform.
Oh,
as I
that's
move
what
on
it
to be
comes
the next
down
mayor
to.
of New Orleans.
Copenhagen turns and whatever. Anyway,
teary-eyed.
Grab, appreciate you coming in the show, buddy.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Always
Bittersweet
good.
day. Bittersweet day.
But we'll be back.
I know.
Late July podcasts. It's going to be great. Dave, appreciate it. Sports 1280, iHeartRadio. Appreciate all the time. Clyde, appreciate you, buddy.
This was great, guys. We're going to take it to the podcast. Can't wait. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you.
Hashtag jealous. I love that. That was a good one. But no, for Jeff, Clyde, myself, appreciate you guys listening. Keep tabs on us, and we will be back in a month and a half. So, all right, Eric Asher coming up next, and we won't be strangers here on Sports 1280. Appreciate it, everybody.
We're out.
To the end of the road. Man, this is the extended version.
No. Shit is so hard to say goodbye.
That's the one you just hit.
No, look over there. We gotta get the F out of here. It's so hard
Dave's
to
coming,
say
so yeah.
goodbye.
All right.
Day.
Bach and all piss on our head.
We'll go inside. Bottle of champagne.
I'm following you guys.
Celebration.
I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah, you just you go a long way down St. Claude.
No one knows how to get there but me and Sir.
Well, tell the YouTubers bye one more time. Bye, guys.
See you in a month.
Later. See you in a month. Tell them bye, Graf.